So when I first started trying to create consistent AI characters, I kept running into the same problem. Every time I changed the scene, the character's face would change too. Sometimes it was the eyes, other times the clothes, and half the time it looked like a totally different person. After generating over 1,000 characters using every major AI art tool out there, I found out exactly which ones work and which ones waste your time. So in this video, I'm going to show you the only tools that actually keep your character's face locked even after 10 scene changes. These are the exact workflows I follow to avoid random generations, wasted credits, and broken faces, and the secret prompts, settings, and methods that give you full control over outfits, poses, expressions, and even camera angles across multiple scenes. We'll begin with ChatGPT and DALL-E 3. So here's how I use it. I'm going to start by creating our base character, an old rugged coal miner. And for that, I want to give DALL-E as much detail as possible. So inside ChatGPT, I type this into the image prompt. A realistic portrait of an old coal miner in a soot-stained helmet with a bushy gray beard, weathered face, and coal dust on his cheeks, wearing dirty overalls inside a dimly lit coal mine. This kind of prompt works best when you're hyper-specific about the facial features, clothing, setting, and every other detail you would like the character to have. The more detailed you are, the better DALL-E will lock in that visual. Now once I hit enter, DALL-E gives me a single image. So whatever result it gives you, you have to decide if it's close enough to what you want. Now that ChatGPT is done generating, let's review the image. It came out looking pretty good. He has all of the features we described in the prompt, and the image looks realistic. But now I want to put that same miner outside, in a different environment, like at home, making dinner. So thanks to some recent updates DALL-E made, I can just type in the miner at home making dinner. And here is the result I get. Now when I compare the two images, they're actually very close. But when ChatGPT starts to show its limits is when you give it prompts that are a bit too vague. Right here I told it, the miner in a wedding suit at his son's wedding. Full body. And as you can see, he has the wedding suit, but his face is still dirty, and he's still wearing the miner hat. To fix that, we'll need to be more detailed. So I would write something like this. The miner in a wedding suit at his son's wedding, full body, he is clean and doesn't have his miner hat. He looks happy for his son and is drinking a glass of champagne. Now it actually gives me what I had in mind. Our miner now looking happy and holding that champagne glass that I mentioned in the prompt. Exactly how I pictured it. Now that we've got the miner styled the way we want using detailed prompts, here's another trick to help keep things consistent without starting over from scratch each time. Instead of starting a new chat, I stay in the same conversation thread. DALL-E itself doesn't actually remember any previous images, it treats every generation as a new request. ChatGPT actually remembers your earlier prompts, which helps carry over some descriptive details. So when I type, the miner in a wedding suit at his son's wedding, full body, it doesn't always hit perfectly, but it reuses key traits like the beard, the face texture, or the outfit. And staying in the same thread gives you a better shot at keeping those consistent traits compared to starting a brand new session. Now for the most useful feature in DALL-E, if you want more control, the built-in image editor. Let's say I want to move this exact miner into a new location, like a busy city street. I click on the image, hit selection, and now I mask out the background. Basically just highlight the area around the miner's body. I leave the miner himself untouched. Then in the prompt box, I write, place this man in a busy city street during daylight. DALL-E processes that and generates a new image. Same guy, same pose, but dropped into the new setting. The thing is, ChatGPT starts running into its limits here. The facial structure changed a lot, and the character starts to look significantly different from the first image we created, but is still somewhat recognizable. Lastly, let's use this same editor to change outfits too. Say I want to replace the miner's overalls with a formal suit. I just mask the clothes area, then type something like replace it with a white suit. Now it swaps the outfit. This is by far the most reliable method to keep things consistent in ChatGPT without relying on any external tools. However, just a heads up, this process isn't fast. Each image generation takes a while, roughly 5 minutes most of the time. And I had multiple times where the image just didn't load, it failed completely, and I had to rerun the generation again. It gets frustrating fast when you're trying to make a bunch of variations. To make it worse, it's one image at a time, so you're stuck repeating that whole process manually for every single scene. There's no batch option and memory of what you did last. Every time you run it, you're basically flying blind, unless you lock things down with precise edits or super repeatable prompts. So here's the takeaway. ChatGPT with DALL-E 3 can give you moderate consistency, but only if you're willing to be specific in your descriptions, keep everything inside one chat thread, and manually edit each image when you need precise changes. For quick experiments or building one-off scenes, it works. It works fine for one-offs, but try a story with multiple scenes and a consistent character, that's where it struggles. Now let's move over to Midjourney. This one's known for its high-quality visuals, but up until recently, it had a big problem: consistency. You generate an amazing portrait, then try to get that same character in another scene, and it just wouldn't match. Midjourney just released their character reference feature, and it's actually pretty good at creating consistent characters. So here's how I'd go about using it. First thing, I'm going to open Midjourney's web interface and click on the new Imagine box. I'm going to type out a full detailed prompt. Let's go with a highly detailed 4K photograph of an old coal miner with a gray beard and tired blue eyes, wearing a hard hat and dusty overalls, standing in a dark coal mine tunnel. Once I hit generate, it gives me a 4-image grid. From there, I pick the best one and hit the upscale button to clean it up. Now here's where the reference magic happens. Drag the upscaled image into the prompt box where it says character reference. That image gets added to my character reference collection inside Midjourney. Whenever I want to reuse this miner in a new scene, say I want him sitting at home by the fireplace, I just drop the character image into the character reference area, then type in the new prompt, a realistic photo of the same miner sitting at home by the fireplace. Midjourney will automatically add the double-dash-cref syntax behind the scenes, which tells it to match the look and facial structure of the image we selected. And when it generates, it actually does look like the same guy. Same beard, same tired eyes, but now placed in a new environment. Now let's say I want to take it a step further. Maybe I want to keep the miner's face, but change his outfit again and give him a clean suit and hat and place him in a cyberpunk city street. I'd write something like an elderly coal miner with a bushy gray beard, now wearing a clean suit and hat, walking on a cyberpunk city street in daylight. The look of our guy, with the new scene and clothes. Now if I'm having trouble keeping facial features locked in while changing outfits or poses, that's where the stylization parameter comes in. By default, it's set to 100, meaning Midjourney will try to fully match both the face and outfit. But if I lower that to something like 50, it changes things. It starts ignoring the clothing a bit more while still keeping the face consistent. So if you want him in totally new clothes, like wedding clothes or gym wear, you can drop the stylization down and describe the outfit in the prompt instead. So now I will do just that. I'm going to write an elderly coal miner with a bushy gray beard, now wearing gym clothes, running on a treadmill. And it again delivered. We get the exact same image as we prompted, with our character now trying to lose a couple pounds. Next tool in Midjourney is the remix and variation method. Let's say I like the general character look, but want to see a few pose or lighting changes. I flip on remix, click very strong, and now I get different versions of the same character, but his face stays mostly the same. This is good when you want the same guy doing something slightly different, like turning his head, looking at the camera, holding something without re-rolling the whole identity. So now let's make him face the camera while holding a water bottle. I'm going to select the image I liked earlier, the one with the miner running on a treadmill, and I'll hit very strong with the remix toggle still on. Once the prompt box pops up, I'll slightly tweak the text to guide the variation. I will write, same coal miner, now facing the camera directly, holding a large water bottle in one hand, running on a treadmill. I leave the rest untouched. This keeps Midjourney anchored to the original image while just nudging the pose and props. Then I hit enter, wait for the images to generate, and check the results. And it comes out looking great. This remix method is super useful when you've already locked in the character, but want natural variety, like different expressions, postures, or props without starting over every time. And finally, the best practice here is to always use Midjourney images as your character reference. Trying to use real-world photos or outside images will mess with this style and structure. Midjourney works best when referencing its own creations because it already understands how to interpret those better. So overall, if I had to sum it up, Midjourney now has a really usable character pipeline. It's best when you start with a strong base image, save it as a reference, and build out scenes by mixing that reference with new prompt descriptions. Between character weight adjustments and the remix toggle, you can create surprisingly consistent multi-scene visuals. It's not perfect, and you still have to finesse your prompts to avoid wardrobe glitches or pose resets, but for cinematic visuals with a consistent main character, this gets you way further than before. Now let's move on to the next tool. Alright, now we're going to look into OpenArt, and this one is a game changer. It's built specifically for storytelling and consistent character generation. For this one, we're going to use the multi-image character creation method. This is where you upload 4 or more different angles, expressions, or shots of your character, and OpenArt learns exactly what makes them look the way they do. Let's dive in, and I'll walk you through the whole process step by step. So first, I go into OpenArt and click on the storytelling section. Then I hit consistent characters. Now OpenArt gives me 3 ways to start. With a text description, this is perfect when you're starting completely from scratch. You just describe the character in detail, like their look, outfit, vibe, and OpenArt generates a few options for you. It's fast, flexible, and honestly, this one feature removes the need to use ChatGPT or Midjourney for image prompting ever again. Then you can create a character with one image. This is great if you already have a strong visual reference, like a photo, drawing, or previous AI image. You can upload it, name your character, and OpenArt builds the identity from just that one picture. It's shockingly consistent even with limited input. And then there's the most powerful one, with 4 more images, the multi-image method. If you want the highest level of control and character consistency, this is where it happens. We're going with the 4+ images method for this demo, since it gives us the strongest consistency across poses, outfits, and scenes. I click the 4+ images option. Now I'm going to upload my images. I already have a small set prepared. These are 6 different pictures of the same character. Now, I actually generated these using OpenArt's image generation. Super simple. I just went into the image generation, selected the flux context model, and typed an old male coal miner with a wrinkled, soot-stained face, thick gray beard, tired but kind eyes, and a battered helmet with a headlamp. He's wearing dusty denim overalls, standing inside a shadowy mine. Gritty lighting, rugged appearance. Then I hit generate, picked a few variations, and used the Omni reference feature on the Flux context model to create multiple versions with different angles. This gave me a good starter pack, enough to train a much more robust character model using the multi-image method. I upload all of them. Now OpenArt asks me to name the character. I'll call this one Rusty Miner. Once that's done, I click create character, and now OpenArt begins processing. This part takes only about 5 to 10 minutes, which is shockingly fast compared to other tools, and it sometimes does it even faster depending on the queue. While it's working, OpenArt analyzes the features, face structure, hair, expression, and pose across all your uploads. It builds a full identity model based on what's consistent across the images. Now the training is done. Now I can start generating scenes using this character that has been trained. I go and hover over Rusty Miner and click create. Now I write my prompt. Let's try this. Rusty Miner sitting on a wooden crate outside a mountain cabin at dawn, holding a coffee mug, mist in the background. I hit create. Now we get the result, and he looks just like the guy we trained. Same face, same vibe, even though he's in a totally new scene. That's the core benefit of this method. You're not re-rolling a new character every time. You're working with one locked identity. Now, if I want to adjust the consistency, I go to the character weight slider. By default, this is set to 0.8, which is great for strong consistency. But if I want a little more flexibility, I can drop it to 0.6 or 0.5. That way, OpenArt can change things like pose and lighting style without losing the face. I can also use the Preserve Key Features toggle. If I turn it on, OpenArt keeps the original outfit and look from the training images. If I turn it off, it will still keep the face, but now I can freely dress him up. Say I want him in a tuxedo or snow gear. This gives me that freedom. Now I'll try another scene, but this time with Preserve Features turned off. I'll prompt Rusty Miner in a black tuxedo at his daughter's wedding, smiling with pride. And here it is. He's clean, dressed up, no miner gear, but still looks exactly like the Rusty Miner I trained. This is how you flex a single character across different moments. Let's push it even further. I go into the pose editor. That is a super useful feature only OpenArt has. Now I want him crouching by a fire pit, roasting something on his stick. I click pose your character, pick a male body model that matches his build, and now I'm in the 3D pose editor. I angle the body into a crouch, leaning forward, knees bent. Once that's set, I click Apply Pose. What happens now is OpenArt creates a depth map to help the AI with the exact positioning and the angle in which you made your 3D character. Now I write the scene prompt. Rusty Miner crouching by a campfire in the woods, roasting a marshmallow, nighttime with glowing firelight. Hit generate, and now we've got it. Same character, new pose, new context, and it still holds together perfectly. And if you want a more in-depth guide on how you can create AI characters with OpenArt, I've got a full breakdown on this. Links down in the description if you want to check it out. So that's OpenArt. You upload your images, choose your favorite preview, and from that point forward, your character is locked in. It will now forever keep the same face, same structure, same identity across scenes, lighting setups, outfits, and even animations. Whether you're building a visual story, a comic, an animated series, or just need a consistent character, you can reuse again and again. This is the smoothest workflow I've seen. No model training takes hours and no messing with seeds. You get a real-time editor, a 3D pose tool, in-painting, hand fixes, facial edits, expression changes, all without needing external tools or any technical background. Out of every tool I've tested, OpenArt gives you the most professional, plug-and-play character consistency system. And it does it with fewer steps, less figuring it out, and better results. So if your goal with AI character creation is fast, repeatable consistency without all the technical hurdles, I'd recommend using OpenArt. It's simple, powerful, and built specifically for creators who need their characters to stay the same across every scene. And if you want to know the lessons I learned after generating 1,000 consistent AI characters, watch this video right here.